Hi, my name is Khizra Munir, and welcome to Wowcast, a podcast brought to you by Women of the World Festival, Pakistan, now in its 10th year. For a decade, we've been bringing you incredible stories of amazing women, girls, and allies. And now we're bringing them directly to you. So they say never ask a woman her age. But if we don't ask them their age, we won't know what potentials lie ahead. And that's the story of my guest today. At 60, Aamira Saeed is scaling more than just mountains. She's challenging society's norms about age, about strength, and what women can achieve. And today's episode celebrates her journey from strength training studios to the base camps of Nanga Prapat and Rakaposhi. So let's get into it. Amira, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here. And because I've read up so much on what you've done, I'm very excited to get into this conversation with you. So at 60, you're completely challenging what society expects from women at this age. You're scaling mountains, you're managing a school, you're running a family. How does that happen? Can you take us through what a day in Amira's life looks like?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on this program. As a person, I am very organized, and I think that comes naturally because I would say it's a it's a family thing. So my day starts really early because I feel that if I get my training out of the way first thing in the morning, then I'm good for the day. So I do my strength training, then I rush, get ready, go to work, and then the day unfolds. Lots happens in the school, and once I'm back home, we do have our social evenings and all, and it is very difficult to balance, but I feel if you're organized, you can do it.
So, while balancing family life and your unconventional passions, has there ever been like a moment of conflict where, the pressures of people being like, you're not giving enough attention at home or you're just focusing too much on this? Does it ever sort of become overwhelming, or has it ever been a moment that it got to you?
Yes, of course it does, because you have family pressures. You have aging parents whom you are taking care of. So first you have to organize your thoughts, talk to them, tell them that this is what you're going to be doing, that's what's going to be happening. Sometimes I get a lot of resistance, but then this time I have decided that I have to bring myself first and think about myself and what makes me happy. I've done all that before in my younger age, just listening to others, taking care of my children. But I feel that now at 60, it's my time, and I have to do what I have to do.
And so it's really interesting because as people grow older, they sort of start slowing down in terms of I want to relax. My kids are grown up. I want to sort of settle down. I want to read a book finally because I'm not dealing with all of these, you know, sending the kids to school, doing this, school runs and everything. You did a complete 180. You decided I'm going to go scale mountains. What was that moment where you were like, I'm going to go climb a mountain at 60?
Well, actually, I would say that it started as a family trip in 2019 when we decided to go to the north of Pakistan. There were 18 of us from the same family, and both my husband and myself were very keen on doing the Nanga Parbat base camp, and we motivated the rest of the family. So there were 9 of us out of the 18 who wanted to do this. Finally, when we reached our actual point from where we had to drive, out of the 9 people, 6 backed out, so only 3 of us were left. It was me, my husband, and our nephew. And we thought, okay, we have just come for this and we have to do it. So it was a fun thing. I really didn't know what I was getting into till I started the trek. And that's when it hit me, oh my God, what am I doing? And will I be able to do this? Because during the trek, I was seeing young people who were mounting the horses, who were turning halfway through and they were telling me, Auntie, aap to nahi kar sakti. And telling my husband, Uncle, aap to bilkul hi nahi kar sakte. Well, we kept on and on and on. And finally, we reached Ferry Meadows. We stayed the night there. And next morning, we got up at 4 a.m. because we had to see the sun shining on Nanga Parbat. And we had to trek to the base camp. And we did it.
Wow. So, something you shared with me was that your husband is afraid of heights. How did you convince him to go with you, or like, how did he convince himself to go on this journey with you?
Well, actually, you have to motivate each other, right? And mashallah, I think we make a very good team. The Jeep drive itself was one of the most dangerous drive of the world. So me being me sat in front with the driver and I told him, you sit at the back because I could just see the direct fall, a vertical fall
Right.
in that Jeep. And when they had to reverse, we were literally on three tires, not four tires. So I didn't let him see that. So I think it was a big deal for him to conquer his fear, and we were able to do it.
So, what I'm finding so interesting is the strength with which you talk about this entire sort of life changing journey that you've embarked on. And it talks about, it talks so much about the strength that requires not just like the physical strength, but like the emotional and the mental strength that comes with it. How do you think it's different, you doing this at 60 and everything it requires of you is different from if you were to do this at like 20 or 30? How does it differ?
Well, if I had done it in my 20 and 30, I think it would have been much easier because I was younger, but I was definitely not a fitter woman. I actually started my strict regime when I entered my 30s. That's when I realized that it's so important for a woman to take care of herself. So that's when I started aerobics and strength training, swimming, and I started building my strength. Then, after we did Nanga Parbat, basically COVID hit. We were planning to do Rakaposhi, K2 base camp, and Everest, but everything came to a halt. So, finally, when COVID was over, in December 23, we did Rakaposhi, and that was also a very difficult trek. Again, we were both motivating each other because the weather was terrible. We had to camp outside and it rained the entire night. It was freezing. But I think when you have a partner which is motivating you and vice versa, you're able to do that. I don't know whether I should be saying this or not, but after I did the Rakaposhi trek, I told my husband, I think I'm ready to use any toilet in the world now because that was a shocker for me. And I told him, I think that we are ready to do the Everest base camp.
Wow. And you also showed me a picture of yourself at the Everest base camp.
Yes, that's
So,
right.
the first time you scaled one of these mountains, obviously you've just kept getting higher and higher and just breaking your own sort of records. The first time you did it, what was that feeling? What was that thought that came into your head?
I was like totally in awe. And, when you're in the mountains, you also feel that it's very soulful and healing. And I thought, my God, what an achievement. I never thought that I'll be able to do this at my age. At that time, I was 54, I think, or 53. So I never thought that, I would go and do other mountains. It just sort of got sidetracked. But I mean, the feeling of achievement is what it is when you get to that after going through the hurdles that we did, and it wasn't easy. I mean, when we were doing the Everest, we were walking 9 hours a day, sometimes 10 hours a day, and there's no terrain. We were walking on boulders. We had to tread so carefully. Again, because of our ages, we had to be careful not to twist an ankle, not to fall and hurt, because, you know, like my husband says that our parts are vintage. So we really need to take care of ourselves. So that's how it was.
So, fitness at 60 looks very different from fitness at 20, 30. How do you sort of, how do you make your fitness regime? How do you decide what your body needs, how far you need to push it, what is better for you? Like, obviously, when I was younger, there was a different thing I was doing. And then, they keep telling you, do strength training now, do cardio now. How do you decide what your body needs now?
Okay, so as I said in the beginning, I'm very organized. So I make my entire timetable for the month. And when you're 60, you're losing your muscle. So you need more strength training than you need cardio. So I do strength training 4 days a week, and I do cycling as cardio. By cycling, I mean we wake up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning.
So, given that there are some realities with aging, कि yes, the body, you're vintage, uh, you're weaker, you need more muscle, etc., etc. Um, a lot of people this age just sort of accept it, and instead of thinking that maybe this is something I need to challenge, it's sort of accepted as a fact that this is when you physically decline, and then there's no way beyond that. How do we bust this myth? And what other myths do you think about age need to be busted?
I think it's just a myth, and age is just a number, because there's no such thing that this is your age and you stop exercising. If you're a healthy person, you can exercise till you're 80, 90. Just keep yourself moving, because if you stop, then everything stops for you. And I know that in our culture, people don't look at it that way, but that's the healthy way of living. And especially when your children are not around and you have to fend for yourself, take care of yourself, then I think you have to include exercise in your day to day regime. And of course, you also have to be careful about what you eat. I think diet is also very important.
And I think we're not very mindful of that. The
No,
our
not at all.
desi diet, our Pakistani diet is so like curries and
Yes,
uh,
niharis and
niharis
paya.
and yeah,
Yeah,
biryanis and stuff.
exactly.
It's like an insult if that's not on your table.
Yeah,
Or
so
the kids are like, we're not going to eat that.
exactly. So, I mean, now that the kids are not here, we can plan our diet
You can do what you
according to,
want
yeah,
now.
I can do what I want. Exactly, exactly.
So, for what you're doing, and you're sort of going into spaces that are sort of dominated by men or women from more Western countries, actually. Um, and I think for a lot of locals, seeing you, a Pakistani woman at your age, it's also unconventional. And when we as women are sort of going into these, pushing these boundaries, there's a certain toughness we have to sort of bring on ourselves. We have to become this character who is tough and unfazed and whatever. So how do you balance that while still being that soft Amira who is there for her parents and who is there for like a cuddle with her kids? Or how do the two Amiras come together?
I think when you have your modes. When I'm ready to leave for work, there's an auto switch. It changes. So when I'm at work, I'm not thinking about home at all.
Mm.
And when I come home, my second mode switches on, which is the home Amira, not the work one. And another thing I would like to share, my life on the perspective on life changed 2.5 years ago. Um there was a turning point in my life, because I lost my younger brother. And life is such, he was only 52. We were both sitting and chatting and having fun, and the next day he was no more. He died in his sleep. And it's very difficult to accept, because a sibling is part of you. And that's where Amira Said completely changed because I thought that 6 फुट नीचे तो सबने जाना है.
Hmm.
So now I think more about myself and I want to do things that I have never done. So there's no stopping me now. Now I'm going to do everything that my heart desires that I can do. So, inshallah, God willing, if everything goes well and I'm able to train well, I think my next adventure would be Kilimanjaro if I'm able to do it.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, keeping my fingers crossed. So, I think some things happen in your life that make you change your perspective completely, and that is what happened for me. And I've started thinking more about myself. First I did not. Sometimes my husband says तुम तो बिल्कुल बागी हो गई हो. मैं कब तुम अपना काम करो जो करना है ना. I am going to do my thing. But the good thing is that he's my partner in crime, and we both do things together. I think we rediscovered each other when our children left, because he was so busy taking care of them and worried about their education, their universities. And when they left, we connected again, because one day we were both sitting and I'm like, we were always fighting because of the kids
It was all
taking,
their fault.
yeah, permission lena ye karna. And then once they left, there was nothing to fight on. So I think that rediscovery and then getting to do our passions together. And COVID was like a blessing in disguise, because we both worked out, but we both worked out at different places. So we
Okay.
started we became friends with AliExpress and Alibaba, whatever those online things are. And gradually weights started coming home, benches started coming home. So we built a gym at home
Wow.
and we started working out together. So I think that helped us a lot.
So you basically regained your identities after like you were done raising the kids and sending them off to university. You were just like, okay, so let's remind ourselves who we are,
Exactly.
and sort of rediscovering your interests and your passions. So that's a really interesting take, because the empty nest syndrome is looked at so negatively,
Yeah.
but you've completely flipped it on its head.
Yes, instead of
Yeah,
crying ke bacche nahi hai, ye nahi hai.
हमें छोड़ नहीं,
No,
वो चले गए, अब हम क्या करें?
you have a life of your own with your partner and you need to make it better.
I think that's so important, because, and especially for women in Pakistan, and that's why I feel like this is such an inspirational conversation, because we're so trained and conditioned to always be in service of others,
Absolutely.
right? It's, the parents and the husband and the kids, and you kind of forget yourself.
Yeah, because you're so involved
You're so
in
involved in,
thinking ke wo kya keh dega, what that person is going to think, whether I should do this or whether I should not. But it's not happening for me
where you're
anymore.
like kitty party friends, like, what are you doing, Aamira?
No, I have my tribe is very strong, mashallah.
Yeah.
There are 10 of us and we all think the same way. In fact, inshallah, if everything goes well, in July, the 6 of us are trekking the northern area. So we've already planned that.
Oh,
It's just
wow.
us girlfriends who are going. And actually, my friends are very, very encouraging because they're like me.
Okay, so we all talk about the physical preparation of going on a trek. Okay, stamina build karna hai, or like I need to practice breathing because the altitude, it's all very different. What is the mental preparation that you have to do? And speaking from the perspective of, like you said, I can now use any bathroom available anywhere. So like, you live in the comfort of a city. We have our lives, we have our set patterns, and then suddenly you're like, okay, now next week we're going to fly here, and suddenly nothing is going to be available. You've obviously got to get into that zone, right? How does that happen?
Actually, I never got into that zone because my husband was the one sitting in front of YouTube, watching, everything on Everest, trying to prepare himself. I didn't do any such thing. I said, look, I don't want to scare myself before I go, and I'm going to take it as it comes.
Right.
So that's how I prepared myself, because the first day that we trekked from Lukla to Phagding, that's the first town that you come to, it was a 9 hour trek. And by the end of the trek, I thought my head would burst because I think I got dehydrated, and we went at an altitude which I was not prepared for. And I thought we had to abort our program, the entire trip. But our guides were so good. And in the evening, they said, you have to start with the medication and you have to take it for 14 days. Diamox is the altitude sickness
Okay.
medicine. And I thought that the next day I won't be able to get up. And my husband was extremely upset. I took the medication. I got up in the morning. I had my breakfast and I was running around. And the guide said that, Firoz, does it look like that she was sick last night? And the suspension bridges, there were about 10 to 11 that we had to cross, which were very dangerous. Like my husband couldn't look down. So I told him, don't look down. I went running on them
You
and
ran.
I ran on them because I was just there in that spirit. And I think every town that came, it brought its challenges, but I never mentally prepared myself for it. I thought as it comes, I should just go ahead with it.
You're right about not scaring yourself in advance, because I can't get past Murray because I just look at all these videos of like fairy meadows and all of this. So you're right. Just one should just go do it. Okay, so what I really want to know is, when you decided to do this and when your husband and you decided to do this, what was the reaction from like your direct family, like your kids? There's a lot of situations where parents, when they try to do this, the kids are like, what is this midlife crisis? Like, what's wrong with
Oh
you
my God.
guys?
This I have to share with you.
Okay.
So, my older kid, my daughter in law called me and she said, Mom, Faraz doesn't know that you're going, and Mother's Day is coming closer. When are you planning to tell him? I said, once I reach. So she said, well, he's asking that he wants to send you the flowers for Mother's Day. And I told him, you can't send it to Amma because she's going. And he's like, where is she going? So she said, well, they're going to the Everest Base Camp. So I get a call from him, and it was like hell on earth. And I just listened to him. And for 15 days, my daughter in law did not speak to him because he was so edgy. And he kept on telling his colleagues at work, my crazy parents, they've gone to do Everest Base Camp. I think they're crazy. They've lost it. My mother is 60. My father is 71. I think they're crazy. And my younger son, Amma, go and do what you want to do, because this is the time to do it. Just don't listen to Bhai. Just go with the flow and you'll be fine.
So your younger
So,
son was totally like YOLO.
oh, yes, yes, totally, totally.
Just go do it.
Just go do it.
And what about like the older generation in your family?
My mother
Yeah, your
was
parents.
very proud, and she said that, "हाँ बेटा जाओ ज़रूर करो. I'm sure you can do it." So my mother was very supportive, definitely.
So, what has been the one really surprising thing that has come out of this entire sort of life journey that you've embarked on? And that could be a realization, that could be a learning, that could be like this moment you experienced. Like, what was the most unexpected?
When I reached the base camp on, I think, 5,384, and I thought, okay, how did I do this? In 14 days from where we started and where we are was just amazing. Just that achievement, that fulfillment, that I have done this, which I had planned to do. It looks like a dream now, but Alhamdulillah, we were able to do it. And I found the mountains to be very healing, uh, very soulful, because everyone was trekking at their own point.
Yeah.
And I felt so connected to my creator that at times, used to be having a conversation with Allah, and, he felt so close. So that was amazing for me, really amazing. And I found so much peace in the mountains, which I really was looking for, after the tragedy I faced in my family. So that was definitely something.
And when you're up there, and because there are other people who are also on the same sort of trek as you or the same journey as you, are younger people surprised to see you and your husband?
Oh my God, the amount of selfies and the
That's what
amount.
I was thinking.
Yes, because they said we're going to go back home and tell our parents that, look, we met this couple who were trekking, and uncle became the selfie queen, I should say, because
Really.
everyone wanted a picture with him. So, yes, I mean, nearly everyone was much, much younger than us. I think we were the oldest couple in our group.
That's what I was thinking. You must have stood out so much over there.
Yeah, we did. But uh, the kind of support we got from them and encouragement was also amazing. So they were like in awe कि जब ये लोग कर सकते हैं, तो anyone can do it.
And have you ever realized that what you're doing right now, as like a Pakistani woman, a Pakistani married woman whose kids are gone and at your age, do you realize that you're not just sort of scaling mountains, you're also sort of setting the tone for what other women can do? Like you're on like the brink of this movement or like a sort of activism per se. Do you ever get that feeling like you want to speak to more women and be like,
I was about to say that maybe after seeing this program, um, what we are doing right now, I mean, I would love to connect with women. I would love to motivate them, because you're just not about being inside four walls. You're more than that, and you have to realize your worth. Uh, it's very sad to see women of my age, like they've just sort of left themselves. And when I see that, when my colleagues say that, oh, Miss Amra, मेरी अम्मी तो 60 साल की हैं, I said, excuse me, what do you mean
मैं 60
60
साल
साल
की हूँ?
की हैं? नहीं, वो तो बहुत बुढ़ी हो गई हैं. I said, no, कोई बुढ़ी नहीं हुई है. This is, age is just a
You have made her
number.
Buddha.
Yeah, so I wish that for women of our age would take care of themselves. I think training is very, very important, and diet is very important. I would, love to give motivational talks to women. In fact, even where I'm working, my colleagues are always saying that let's start a Zumba class. In fact, I have built an exercise room in our head office. One room is just dedicated to the machines, and also I tell my staff, when you're free, go and use the weights, the treadmill. So we have there, it's right there for them. And I'm on the third floor, and I never use the lift.
I expected that.
And when I see these young girls going on the first floor using the lift, they just turn around. They don't want to see me in the eye. And I'm like,
Avoiding eye
yeah, I
contact.
said, you can't climb 25 steps. That's it. So, yeah, that's how you take care of yourself, basically.
So when I first sort of started reading up, or like when I read your story, and obviously, and this keeps coming up, your age, your age, your age. And then I was like, we are literally celebrating this woman because she's old. And that's why I was like, there's this whole like narrative that don't ask a woman her age. And we've made women so conscious of telling their ages beyond 20 because it just stops the conversation there. And that's how a lot of people want it.
Well, I'll be 61, so I'm not 60 anymore. I'm 60 and a half. And I'm very proud to tell everyone
So
my
that's the
age.
amazing part. Like
So, yeah.
if I didn't know your age, if I didn't ask you your age, I would not know what you've done at this age, which is like a realization for me, and which is like a realization that we stop women from talking about their ages. And I know so many women who are older women who are so successful CEOs and just thriving in what they're doing, but they're made to feel conscious about their age. And that's the barrier that we have to sort of break. And you've never felt conscious about it.
No, in fact, 2 weeks back, I was in Nathia Gali. So I did the pipeline walk, which is very easy. Then we went to Mukshpuri, then we did Mirinjani. And I mean, every time you trek, it is tough in the beginning, then you're fine. And Mirinjani is the highest point in Nathia Gali. So it's like both of us now, basically. It's not one who wants to do it. So that makes it much easier. when you have your partner with you. So yeah, no, I don't think ever.
No.
I've never thought that I'm this old, I should not be doing this, I should not be doing that. I've never thought of it that way. I mean, when I hopped onto the bicycle in COVID, like my husband said that after 50 years, I'm on a bicycle. And I said, yeah, I think I also hopped on a bicycle after 40 years. So it was fine.
But you still knew how to ride it. You never forget how to ride a
Oh,
bike.
no, no, you definitely don't. I mean, we started because the markets were closed. So we went to Jackson Market, then we went to Lighthouse, then finally, we couldn't find bicycles because I think everyone resorted to cycling when
Yes.
COVID hit. So it was
And
very
the prices
difficult.
also
Oh, yeah, they
skyrocketed
were
of bicycles.
exuberant.
Yeah.
But finally, we got a bicycle that we liked, and now it's been 3 years, 4 years, I think, that we've been cycling. And again, you build a community. So all the people are much younger than me, and they're like, we don't know how to address you. हाँ, आपको auntie बोलें, बाजी बोलें. I said, just call me Amira. So they are very hesitant to call my husband by his name. So some of them call him Firoz Dada, some call him Firoz Lala because they just can't call him
So he is
Firoz.
Uncle Lala and Dada, but you are Amira.
I'm Amira. Yes.
Okay. Um. So if you could go back and give your younger self any advice, what would that be?
I think I was so, so, so involved in raising my kid, in looking both sides of the family. When you get married to a family. It's your in laws, your own family, just sort of taking care of everyone, looking after everyone. Not for a moment I stopped and thought that if I was my younger self, I would definitely think that, I'm someone and I need to do what I like to do and pursue that, uh, which I did not at that time because I was too involved in you know, raising my kids, doing housework and everything. But I think my husband's been always very encouraging, and I was very young when I got married. So, but definitely, I think I would have given myself more time, which I did not. So, I would want all the young girls to think about themselves, uh, to teach the people around them that out of 24 hours, 1 hour is yours.
Yeah.
Come hail or storm, that 1 hour is yours. And if it's not a matter of life and death, no one should get in touch with you in that 1 hour. So 1 hour you have to take out for yourself, definitely.
And what would you say to young women who are obsessed with, you know, and I've seen this myself, that every time I crossed a certain age milestone, I was like, oh, this is not so bad. I didn't suddenly hunch over or like become this old haggard. You know how like when you're in your 20s, you're like, oh my God, 30, 30, 30, or like then 35, oh my God, 40. And then ev- it doesn't feel different. So young women are so obsessed with like, oh, if I don't do it by this time, it's too late. Or if I don't do it by this age, it's too late. What is too late and what isn't too late?
I think it's never too late. I think you can achieve anything at any age if you're resilient, if you're motivated, and if you've set your mind to it. That's what you need to do. um, like people are obsessed with dieting, and I mean, like I do a lot of workout and lots of other activities. So by now I should have been a French model, but I'm not a French model. I'm happy with what I am because I know my strength, I know how strong I am, and with age your body changes. So accept your gracefully age gracefully, but accept what's coming, but just don't stop just because you're 40, 50, 60. It's like, as I'm saying, age is just a number. I don't think you can do anything at any age. I think myself and my husband have already proven that to the world
You
because he's
absolutely
much
have.
older than I am, and mashallah, he's also very active. He also, I know it's about women we are talking, but recently there was Karachi Marathon,
Right.
and mashallah, he's 72 this year, and He did half a marathon, and I felt really embarrassed. So I um, registered for the 5 km, and I thought I'm just going to be walking. Then I started running. I thought, I'll stop. But I don't know how I managed. I did manage to run 5 km, and I was very happy
That's
with
awesome.
that. But mashallah, he did 21.1, which
Mm.
was amazing for his age. So age is just a number. I think at any age, you're capable of doing anything.
I think that's amazing.
You just have to be mindful. You just have to
Yeah.
be careful. You have to train your mind that, this is what you're going to do.
You have to
And
adapt.
yeah, exactly.
What is the craziest thing that has happened to you while you were up on one of your sort of treks and, trying to scale one of these mountains? What is the craziest thing that's happened? And
Um,
it doesn't have to be inspirational or positive or like, just tell us the truth. What
yeah,
is the
of course,
craziest thing that's happened?
I will. I find this the craziest. So, our last stop was Gorakshep. Now, at Everest Base Camp, the advantage we had was that they had tea houses, right? And no one wanted to leave the dining room because that was the warmest room.
Hmm.
So when we had to come, by the way, I spent a lot of money on boiled water every day because we had to put the hot water bottles inside our sleeping bags. And when we used to sleep, we couldn't turn on the other side because the other side was so freezing. So we just remained on one side, which was warmer. So on the last day, for 18 hours, I hadn't used the toilet because we were on the ground floor and the toilets were on the first floor. Just to get to the toilet took me 15 minutes because we were at that altitude. When we were walking, we were feeling sick. And after 18 hours, my husband said, I think you're going to burst. So
Oh my
you
God.
better go. So I think that's the craziest thing I did. Hold my bladder for 18 hours was, I think, the worst thing and the craziest thing I could have done. But I managed. But believe me, at that height, even to walk a distance was a nightmare.
This is something I can find relatable in this entire experience. Everything else was motivational, inspirational, and this was like, yeah, I
But
get
yes,
that.
and for everyone who's ever planning to do trekking or mountaineering,
Yeah.
they need to do a lot of squats for sure because you need to use the desi toilets. So you have to have good strength in your legs,
Right.
and yeah, and you have to exercise a lot.
Strong
Definitely.
glutes,
Strong
strong
glutes,
hamstrings
squatting.
and
Yes,
thighs.
yes. So that's very
That's
important
good
part of.
insight for anyone who's aspiring to do this.
Definitely. That's what I said when I came back from Rakaposhi. I said, I'm ready for everything because now I can use any toilet in the world. That was
That's
an eye opener.
that's
So,
that's great to know now.
yeah.
Amira, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such an like enlightening and entertaining conversation. Um, I'm petrified of heights also, just like your husband. I could relate to that part. But I know so many people want to embark on this journey, and I think hearing it from you and seeing your strength and how like you've motivated yourself to do it, and even if it's women who feel like they're bogged down by life, by responsibilities, and like by the time their kids grow up and go to college it'll be too late. it I think seeing you
It's
and
never
hearing your
too late.
story, that's exactly what we wanted to get across, that it's not too late. Even if you're raising your kids, there's still going to be time for you to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I hope I can motivate more women of my age and younger to think beyond their day to day life. And I'll be very happy to connect with anyone and help anyone who wants to do this.
That's
So thank you
amazing.
so much.
Inshallah.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us at Wowcast. And we will be back with another amazing guest in another episode. Thank you.